What's up, everyone? It's Ruby here, bringing you guys another Percy Jackson video. So today we're going to be looking at the announcement that the trio is complete. So we're going to just read the post from Rick Riordan talking about the cast. So here it is, the trio is complete. This was made May 5th, 2022, which is today. At the time of recording it is today. So here's what he said. Friends, the main trio is now complete for the perilous, I guess. he's English teacher. Is now the main trio is now complete for the perilous but exciting quest known as Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the TV series. Is that the official name? I am delighted to introduce to you to Grover Underwood. In his young life, Aryan Simhadri has already proven himself a veteran actor. He recently starred in a Disney Plus film, Cheaper by the Dozen, and in the Disney Channel's Spin. In his auditions for Grover Underwood, Aryan won our hearts. He had me laughing out loud with his delivery and timing. He was a mixture of sweetness, humor, and internal toughness that is perfect for our favorite satyr. Grover has some big flying shoes to fill, but Aryan is exactly the right guy for the job. He and Walker already have a great dynamic together. The visual magic we will be using to get Aryan his satyr's goat legs is next level stuff. Wait until you see it. Now, one thing that should be noted is that the cast of the Golden Trio was actually an open call blind audition. So they did a colorblind test. So there was no appearances taken into account, which is important to know. You know, I know some people have questions about the appearances of certain characters. For me, you know what? As much as I would love for the characters to be exactly like they are in the books, I understand that that's not a realistic goal. If you think about Harry Potter, they got very lucky with Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint. Nothing like that is ever going to happen again, because it's so hard to do, to get the characters looking 100% like the characters, and then on top of that, also getting characters that feel right. You know, these kids are young. They're 12 years old, 15 years old, 17 years old. They are not the 20-year-old people that were casted in the unspoken movies that never existed. These people are gonna grow up to be someone completely different. And I don't know if you know this, but puberty changes a lot of things. So it's very hard to judge of whether or not a character is going to look and remain looking the same way throughout the entire series. Percy Jackson is going to be a long series. We're going to be with these characters, I feel like, for at least the next 10 years. I mean, there's 5 books in the main series alone, and if they do the Heroes of Olympus, then that's 5 more books. And who knows how they do the filming? I don't know if it's going to be like one season is going to be for one book. I don't know if it's going to be like 5 seasons or like 10 seasons. Like, I have no idea how they're doing the movie, how they're doing the show, right? So more likely than not, these people are going to be with us for like 20 years, right? So it's important to get the personality down, right? That to me is probably the most important thing. I would rather have someone look slightly off but act very well like the characters than have someone look the part but be an absolutely terrible actor, right? That's kind of what happened with the movies. I mean, there was a lot of things wrong with the movies, but not only did the characters look wrong, but they also felt wrong. Alexandra is a great actress, but she is not Annabeth. I'm sorry. She was just so dead space. There was no personality. It felt very forced, and it was a very unfortunate circumstance. I mean, they had a bad script, right? Grover was completely wrong, and Percy was just an ass. And he looked the most like his character, right? So I think when it comes to the characters, as much as in a perfect world they would be exactly the way that we want them to. But the real world, it's not perfect, right? So there's going to be people that look different, but just are those people. And Harry Potter actually ran into this idea as well. That they ran into people who didn't quite look the part, but they acted really well, right? They acted so well that they became the iconic looks of the characters. And that's something that is never going to be recreated. So why even bother attempting, right? I know people are going to talk about how, well, if they weren't going to stick to their appearances, why include them in the books? Because the books were written like 10 years ago. And one thing that Rick Riordan even pointed out, is the fact that he actually changed a lot of the details in the books multiple times. Remember that when Thalia was introduced, she was supposed to have, I think, green eyes? And then she was changed to blue eyes. And people just wrote it off as Percy dreaming Thalia wrong. But the only way that Percy would dream Thalia in the first place is if he was told about her, right? So it's either that Annabeth forgot the color of her best friend's eyes, or, maybe things just change. Things evolve over time. And as much as I would love Annabeth to be the perfect, 100% correct person, I would much rather have a character that I can empathize with, a character that I can feel for, right? I feel like one of the biggest problems with the movie is that the characters feel so dull. They feel so simple. They feel so stereotypical, right? They do Annabeth like she's a daughter of Ares. They do Percy like he's a son of Zeus. And they do Grover like he's nobody. And, I think I would just much rather have, like, if we're going to stick with these people, I'd much rather have a person that I can like than have a person that looks exactly like Annabeth but doesn't sell that part. I also know that there were a few leaked auditions, and, I think it's important to remember that there are a lot of eager people out there. There are a lot of people that would kill for these roles, right? They would kill for them, but they're not going to get them. Why? Because there are better options. And I think it's more important to get the person who did the best, who has the most chemistry. We always hear about these stories of best friend characters not actually being friends in real life and actually hating each other's guts. Like, I would hate for that to happen to Percy Jackson. Who knows if these people get recasted? Who knows what happens? But appearances can be altered, personalities cannot. Let's just put it that way. Appearances can be altered, personalities cannot. And I really do think that there are cases where people have been book accurate, but they just could not act, or at least they couldn't act like the characters that they were supposed to. And I think of all people, I think I trust Rick the most to make that judgment call of when a character is just a character. I think he knows his characters the best, and he is probably the only one who can tell us, like, this is Grover, or this is Percy, or this is Annabeth. With that being said, I have no idea who these people are, and I'm looking forward to it. So here is Annabeth Chase. Now here's what he says. Out of all the talented actors we looked at for this role, Leah Sava Jeffries quickly became my number one choice for Annabeth. A native of Detroit, she is a brilliant actor who can break our hearts, make us laugh, and have us cheering for her all in the same scene. She has a series regular on the TV show Empire and also in the series Rel. She recently returned from South Africa, where she wrapped filming on Beast, a forthcoming feature film in which Leah, sorry, I don't know if it's Leah or Leia. It might be Leah. I think I know people who spell that name and pronounce it like 15 different ways. I want to say it's Leah, just because that's usually the pronunciation. I'll say Leah until I'm told otherwise. Plays the daughter of Idris Elba's character. She will also star in the Amazon feature Something from Tiffany's, coming out this fall with Zoe Dutch. Oh my god, these people, like I'm with the talk, right? and Shay Mitchell, produced by Reese Witherspoon. Leah is exactly the way I imagined Annabeth in the books. Smart, strong, and courageous. A true daughter of Athena who has zero patience for the foolishness of a certain seaweed brain. Watching her act with Walker and Aryan, I saw Annabeth Chase come to life. As soon as you see her on the screen, you will know what I mean. The wise girl has arrived. This week, our three brave heroes assembled for the first time at the studios in Vancouver. And I got to welcome them to the set. We have a lot of hard work ahead of us, but also a lot of fun. I cannot wait to get started. Please help me welcome Walker, Aryan, and Leah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm not sure which one she goes for, but to the Percy Jackson universe, I promise that they will do you proud. You know what? I trust that. I think that it's very easy to write off people because they don't look the way that we want them to. And you know what? For a while, I was kind of on that same mindset that characters who are adapted need to look like they do in whatever they're from, right? But I'm a big Percy Jackson fan, okay? I'm a huge Percy Jackson fan. I discovered Percy Jackson in 2012 or 2013, one of the two. It was when the movie came out, right? I saw it in theaters, and I liked it at first, and then I read the books in like one sitting, and I hated the movies after that. And I think the biggest problem with the movies is that while the characters looked kind of like our characters, they really, really did not act like them. Percy is insufferable in the movies. Annabeth is cold and wooden. And Grover is just a jock. Right? So I think it is way more important for the characters to be themselves rather than look like themselves. Nothing changes the way that Percy Jackson and his friends look like in the books. Nothing will change that. Those versions of the characters will always exist, right? Whatever you see Percy as, whatever you see Grover as, and whatever you see Annabeth as, that is who they are to you. However, I think the series can take that change. We don't even know, they haven't even started filming yet, okay? They haven't even started filming. They haven't started acting. We have no clue who these people are. If you know who these people are, then good job. But I don't. I don't know who Will is. I don't know who Arian is. And I have no idea who Leah or Leia is. Okay? I don't know who these people are. And that's a good thing. That is a very good thing. Because I knew who Logan Lerman was. And I know who Alexandra is. Like I know who these people are. And they couldn't deliver. I mean, you have so many recognizable people and also nothing like the characters, right? They're nothing like them. And I think that while it's easy to write off people because they're not the people that we see them as when we imagine these characters. And even some people were like, why don't they do an animated series? You know, why don't they animate the characters and make them look 100% accurate? And I think the reason is simply because they want to redo the live action movies without all the bad things. You know, I think Rick really wants to redeem his series and really see them come to life. And while animation is a very good thing, it's not always the correct thing for everything, you know. I also think that when it comes to animation, it's very easy to kind of market it as for kids. And even though that's wrong, I think that in some cases, live action helps keep the series aging, right? I love Young Justice. It is definitely not for kids. But I love animation in general. I just love looking at animation. I like all the styles. There's so many different styles you can go for. But I also think in some cases there is also the risk of needing to hire a lot of people to do animation and also needing to retain those people. Because the style has to be the same throughout the series. Like, it's a lot of work. I don't think people realize how much work animation truly is. And I suspect that Percy Jackson and Olympians might not have as big as a budget as we might think it would. Right? And so when you have a lower budget, there are things that make it a lot more expensive. Animation is very expensive. Live action isn't as expensive because you only have to pay for minimal CGI. And who knows what they'll do when it comes to the CGI. I don't know if they do prosthetics. I don't know if they'll do CGI. Like, I have no idea what they're going to do. But because it's live action, I think they also have that freedom of making sure everything looks real, everything comes to life. And I also think that it gives people the opportunity who otherwise wouldn't have, the opportunity to play these characters that we all know and love. If this was animated, I don't think we would have all these aspects, right? Because if this was animated, we would have older voice actors, let's be honest. We would have people that are like young adults voice acting these characters. And while that's a great thing to have, this forces, this almost forces them to go with people who nobody knows about, right? And also, voice acting is very tricky to cast. Like, what do you even cast for that? Because voices change over time. The voice is probably the first thing that changes when it comes to, like, puberty. Like, voices drop. So if they casted kids, their voice might change. And then also, like, just voice acting in general is paid also a lot differently. There's very different aspects between voice acting and live action, in which they are paid, in which they're, like, it's unfortunate, but voice actors don't actually get paid as much as live action actors, I think. So there's also that aspect where maybe Rick really wants to be able to reward these actors and these kids, and really be able to actually make the series come to life. I think it's a very noble effort, and I think that's respectable. I also don't think that people who want characters to be book accurate are I don't think people who want the characters to look the way that they pictured them when they read them. How do I put this? How do I even say this? Look. If people want these characters to look accurate to the books, I think that's valid. I think it's a valid thing to want what you read come to life. And while Rick says that these characters come to life, we don't know that yet. We haven't seen them yet. All we know is what Rick is saying is happening. And, as much as people like to say that they love Rick and, like, they're loyal, I think they also really want to see the characters that they imagined come to life. There's a lot of push to have Annabeth be, casted in as a certain ethnicity, I should say. And I understand the sentiment. Like, I understand why people are kind of playing the color cards. Like, oh, she should be black. Oh, she should be white. By the way, those are the only two ethnicities really mentioned. There's only... It's like people forget that there are more than one. There are more than two colors. Like, I had even mentioned at one point that I almost want Annabeth to be Asian, because that would make her even more... Like, I am almost exactly like Annabeth, by the way. And so if she was Asian, then I would just be Annabeth. But you know what? I think both people are valid. Everyone is valid in how they feel about the series. Now, that doesn't mean that you can just go around spreading hate to these actors. Don't put it on the actors. These are literal children. Okay, they're literally kids. So even if you don't agree with the casting, don't blame it on them. Come on, you're better than that. What have to #PGO cast deserves respect? Live by that. If you tweeted that out, live by it. If you tweeted that out and now you want to send hate towards the actors because you don't like that they ended up going in a different direction, that's just sad. It's sad. If you tweeted that out, live by it. You have to live by it. It's very important that we stick to our word. And we stick to our morals, and we stick to what we said. And remember that these people are literal 12-year-olds. Well, actually, they're not 12-year-olds. I think they're 15. I think the ages came out, and I don't remember what the ages were. I think they're young, right? They're young. They're young. Let's put it that way. I believe Aryan is the oldest, and then I believe Will is the youngest, which actually lines up pretty well, age wise. I also know that they're casting for Clarice now. They're casting for Nancy Blofeld. Or no, not Nancy Blofeld. That is not her name. Oh my god. Boba Fett. I always like to call her Nancy Boba Fett, even though it's not her name. But Boba Fett, the bully. And now, what's important to know is that so the Golden Trio was open cast, colorblind. That's how they casted them. It was open cast, so anyone could come, everyone could audition, and then it was also colorblind, so they couldn't see the actors when they acted. And then on top of that, everyone else, by the way, is closed auditions, which means you have to go through their agencies or something. And then on top of that, I don't think that those are colorblind, but I suspect that we might see even more diversity. I mean, people were talking about like black and white. I think we're forgetting that there are very few Asians. I think if anything, I would love some Asian representation, because I think it's very rare to see a lot of Asians at all. It's only more recently that Asians have been casted, and so it would be nice. It would certainly be nice with some Asians. Maybe Selena Beauregard could be an Asian. I mean, if we're talking. I mean, let's be honest. The only Asian within the main series is, I think the only Asian is Ethan Nakamura. I could be wrong. Oh man, maybe Lucas Stanley can be Asian. Just have. Maybe Luke can be the anime tsundere. Okay, sorry. Anyways, I just thought I would do kind of a video on the casting. I will follow more closely on this. So for more news, I'll do more videos. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the series that we had going. I don't know if I'll continue it. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But know that the Percy Jackson content is only just beginning. We're only getting started. And I can't wait to see what they do with the Disney Plus series, and we can have more discussions about different things that they're deciding on. And I might even do kind of like wishful, like a wishful thinking like video where what my ideal Percy Jackson series adaptation. The list goes on and on of things that I could do. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like on this video. Comment down below, what do you think of this casting? And also subscribe to the channel for more content. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys. It's been a blast. Bye!